harmonizing with nature. With over 4 decades of changing lives, your self-discovery archaeologist, get ready to be the best of you with your host, Beverly Zimet.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Beverly Zimet Show, where being that best you just got easier with my guest today, Charissa Quade, calling from Phoenix, Arizona. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Beverly. It's such a pleasure to be here.
So, what does Charissa do down there in Phoenix, Arizona, besides stay nice and toasty warm?
It is warm down here. I help women overcome money struggles and gain financial peace. And I do this with a biblical perspective so that they can handle money with confidence, they can take care of their family's needs, and they can make an impact in their communities.
Wow, now that was a mouthful, but that sounds really good, especially now with what's going on in the world today with this pandemic mess. And a lot of people I know, have lost jobs or have had their jobs cut way back. And so things are a little on the, topsy turvy side. So why don't you share with the audience what it is that you do and how you do it and how you can help to make a difference in their lives when it comes to that financial security?
Well, it really starts with my own story. I remember being at the grocery store and I was in tears right next to the flour and the chocolate chips because I had just counted up my grocery cart and realized I was overspending again. And as a new bride, I was supporting my family. I was putting my husband through school. And so it all fell upon me. And we both had debt that we brought into our marriage. And like money just completely stressed me out. And I felt like such a failure. And I don't know how many of you have felt or told yourself that you're a failure with money, but I panicked over it and I felt like a failure. And I'm like, I don't know how I could, like, what can I do to make this better? Because this isn't working. And so I stumbled along the best I could, just trying to make ends meet. And then after a couple of years, I looked up and realized if we could come up with a couple $100 that day, we could be debt free by the end of the day. So
Oh, wow. Okay.
I had my husband come in. It was his student loan, made him hit the submit payment button. But Beverly, as I watched those numbers drop to zero, I didn't realize that that would be a defining moment on March 17th, 2010 for my entire life.
Wow.
So
Just stop there for a second. This is amazing. This is in 2010. This is 2020, right? So when you look at that 10-year span and that moment in time is still right there, a very huge aha moment in your life that, like you said, has changed your life. That's amazing. I think it's really unique when we can really begin to recognize those defining, as you put it, those defining moments that make life changing happenings, because those are the things that we need to be grateful for and appreciative of. And it's great because that's part of your story, because it puts you in a position to say, wow, I want to help other people have these same aha type style moments so that they can remove that stress, from their lives. Because stress, we have, science has proven that stress is like the key number one thing behind all of discomfort that goes on in the body, physically, mentally, emotionally, right?
oh, absolutely. And I think money stress is at the top of the list
And it's one
because
of those subjects that people, they just kind of don't want to talk about, right? But you know what? That's part of what living on this planet is all about. It's that money, right? And we have all these concepts and beliefs about money's bad, but money's good, but money's going to make you do things, I mean, just crazy stuff, right?
it's such a mess.
It is a mess. It is a mess. But it sounds like, Carissa, that you've got some things here that you've figured out to try to take that old belief system and that mess and put it into a package that can be followed into perfection and to just reduce the stress and help people come out the other side of that tunnel without hitting a train.
You took the words right out of my mouth. That's exactly what I do. I have to tell you though, even though we were debt free at that moment, I still hated money.
Yeah.
Money still stressed me out because I didn't have a simple plan. I didn't know how to really manage it well. But I'm the type of person who likes to be in control of my money and know where it's going. So I decided to figure out how to handle it. And I looked to the Bible because that's where I look for all of my inspiration. And I started applying these principles I found in there, and they started working. I was no longer scared of money. I ended up turning around and saving up over the next few years $79,775
Wow, she's got that right down to the penny. That is so good.
to
I love
pay
it.
cash for my husband's education. And I didn't start off trying to save 79,775. It was one semester at a time.
Right.
And one semester after that. And then after we were done, I looked back and I was like, oh my word, that's a lot of money. But along the way, I became more confident with handling my finances. And all my friends and family were like, Charissa, you paid off the debt so quickly. You're paying all this money for school. What are you doing? And so it was at that point I started sharing the tips I was learning that was working for me,
Right.
and saw them working for them. And so it was then I dedicated my life to helping other women who are where I was, scared and stressed out and freaked out about money,
Right.
helping them to have a simple plan to follow, and so that they could really know what to do and then have confidence in doing it. Because once your numbers change, your finances change, your whole life changes.
You know that is so true. It really, really does. It's so, it's just kind of surprising how much of an impact that dollar has on
Mm-hmm.
everything that we do in our life, right? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
everything.
It touches every single part of
Yeah.
your life.
Yeah. So if you had one thing that you could share with the audience, in this beginning of the whole thing, what would be the first thing that you could share with the audience to say, okay, if you want to start reducing some of that stress, start shifting your thought processing and how you view money to move some of that fear away, especially in today's world, what would be that one thing? You made a comment, you said you went to the Bible and you found something that changed your life. Can you share that with the audience today?
It was really a bunch of principles of living with a plan with your money, of paying off debt so you're not enslaved to whoever your creditors are, and to really being wise about saving money. And there's even some about diversifying your income. So all of these, I just really saw, you know, that they worked when I applied
Right.
them. They actually work. But what I really connect the faith and finances to, not only what I've learned with the wisdom from the Bible, but over the years, I was a sign language interpreter putting my husband through school. And so I was on a regular income, but I needed a certain number of hours every week
Right.
to pay the bills, to save up enough for tuition and all of that. And I saw God come through week after week after week after week, either with the exact number of hours that I needed, or if there was a week that was less, the week before or after had more. And so I saw my needs met so many times and how faithful God was. So for me, I can't separate faith and finances because of those two things: the wisdom from the Bible about handling your money wisely, and how faithful God has been to provide. So that's really the message that I want to share with people. But I have 3 tips to help you get from scared about money to being confident. Would you like me to share those?
Yeah, I would. One thing I want to mention though
Okay.
before you do that is, what you were saying, I think it all goes back into also changing that belief system and
Mm-hmm.
how you believe about money, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the things that you were mentioning really do hit that belief system. And probably these 3 tips are going to probably capitalize on that. I just kind of have a feeling, right? So, but that's great. So go ahead and share those 3 tips that will help people, on their journey, or at least give them an idea of what it is that they can do to maybe start lifting some of that stress.
Well, the first one is the power of an intentional plan for your money,
Okay, that sounds good.
also known as a budget, right?
Oh, that word.
I knew you were
I like
going
the
to
way
say.
you said it before. I mean, that sounds like, woo, that just sounds kind of cool and neat. Then you say budget, and it's like, oh, okay.
Well, I thought budgeting was taking my receipts and throwing them onto my desk until I had this huge pile. Then
Okay.
spending all Saturday trying to figure out these crumpled, faded receipts, trying to figure out where my money had gone. And I was stressed out. I was panicking. My husband stayed away. It was,
He said,
but
okay, I'm out of here.
yeah, if you've had any inkling of that's what a budget is, it's not.
Oh, that's good. So let us know exactly what that budget
Okay.
is, because it is kind of
It is a bad word.
not a good tasting word, right?
No.
Okay, you got a budget. You got a budget. I mean, you hear that from little on up, right?
And
And
that means I have to get rid of all the restaurants, all the fun, all the, and I have to say
and
no all the
it
time.
does it does kind of really make you feel like I have to be without, right?
But that's not true. And so I'm going to explain that.
Good.
And I do have a free budget worksheet for your audience. And so you don't have to scramble to take notes.
All
You can
right.
get my
Well, we'll
free
make sure they
worksheet.
get that link so that they can go after
Yep.
it.
So let's see. The intentional plan for your money is basically setting up a plan for your money ahead of time. Not my crumpled receipts trying to figure out for the last 3 months where my money had gone, but setting up a plan for your money ahead of time. And what I found is using a prioritized budget, which I'll explain, made such a huge difference. So what is that? A prioritized budget is where you take your income and you subtract all of your expenses, including any debt payments, any savings goals. Everything should be on there, and your income minus your expenses should equal 0, because you have accounted for every single dollar that you make.
Okay.
Now, what made the difference from me hating budget and having all of those negative feelings about budgeting to actually being super excited and now talking about it every day is putting 4 things first at the top of your budget.
Okay.
First one is food, because how many of us are guilty of putting that last and we get to week 3 and we don't have enough money for groceries and to feed our family?
Okay. You guys hear that out there? Is that where you've been? If you've been there before, comment below. Say, guilty. All right.
I mean, I'm guilty too, so you're in good company.
Exactly.
So when we put food first, okay, and that is a huge mindset shift that a lot of people have to make, because usually food goes last. Second thing is lights and water. Third, housing. And 4th, transportation. And when you move these 4 things to the top of your budget, Beverly, you have so much less stress, because now you know your family's needs are taken care of and you can breathe.
That's true. I could see where that definitely would lift that level of stress, because it is, like you say, it's at the last minute, right? It's like, oh man, well, let's see, I don't have gas to put in the tank, so I can't get to the grocery store to get a little bit, and then you start like, what can I make that's going to stretch it, and that's going to stretch it, and that's going to stretch it, right? So, that does make a huge difference. Yeah.
And it also makes a huge difference because your family's needs are taken care of.
Right.
Now you have the mental energy, the resources to be able to tackle that mountain of debt, or to really focus on building your savings. When before you're just like, money's coming in, I'm scrambling to pay this bill because that's due tomorrow and I don't have that money. It removes all of that.
Right.
It also makes it really intentional. So after those 4 things, You list all of the rest of your expenses in order of priority by asking yourself, if I have money for one more thing, what do I pay next? And this way, this simple plan for your money, being intentional about it before the month begins, does a lot of things. It takes away the stress. You know exactly what to pay, because when you get paid, your paycheck goes just down the list.
Right.
And then when you stop midway, you wait till the next paycheck and then you get that and you go down. Now, if you have some unexpected expense come up, what I like to do is start from the bottom, because I've listed them in priority. So the ones at the bottom aren't as high as priority. So
Right.
let's use the clothes. For me, I have plenty. I like clothes, but I have plenty. So if I have an unexpected expense come up that I haven't planned for, I then start with clothing, take that money, just put it on hold for that month, use that money to pay that unexpected expense, and keep going up the list as far as you need to. And that does a lot, because you know how many times that you have this unexpected expense and then it completely derails the budget.
Right.
And then you are stressed and you're like, forget it, I can't do this. And you just give up. Well, this kind of solves that problem. So it's super simple. It's the easiest way I've found. And again, I have that worksheet for you. So please come download that. So that's the first thing, is having an intentional plan for your money. The second thing is that money doesn't have to be stressful.
Okay.
I said it. Money stress comes from not having a clue where it's going.
Well,
It's
now that
coming.
makes sense. That makes sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because, like you just said, if you don't have it allotted in a
Mm-hmm.
direction, and you think you're going to keep it up here, no, no. That's why we have what we have. We have these things to write on, and we have
We have
these
our
things
phones.
to write. And really make that list and put it where you can see it. Put it where other family members can see it.
Mm-hmm.
So if they're asking for something, they can go check off the list and see, well, let's see, week 1 might not be a good time to ask mom for this. I better wait till week 3.
Yeah.
And so they learn how to strategize too. But it gives them an opportunity to say,
Mm-hmm.
okay, I can put things off. I can wait. I can prioritize, right? And then,
Mm-hmm.
so when they're asking for something, that could possibly be one of those what? Unexpected things that come up, right? And so it's like,
Well, even better than that, can I throw another tailspin on that?
yes,
So let's take restaurants. A lot of people like going out to eat for a variety of reasons. And a lot of people tell you, when you're on a budget, that's the first thing that has to go. You're putting all that money towards paying off debt and saving. Well, I want to tell you, if that's important to you and your family,
then put it up there, right?
you can put it wherever you want on that list. The key is, okay, if we're eating out, I want to spend $200 this month, and I name it how much I'm going to spend. And then what's helpful is if you take that money out in cash for those things that you tend to spend a lot on. And so once you just go and enjoy whatever you have decided is your pleasure, works for our family, whether it's shopping, it's the restaurants, whatever it is,
Right.
you just name it, you give it an amount, and then you take it out in cash and you enjoy spending it because you've already planned for it. All of your other expenses are met. Once that money is gone, you have to wait till the next month.
Right. Right. And sometimes too, I just kind of came into my head while you were talking about that. So let's just say you put aside $300 for groceries, and you happen to hit the right stores, and it's like, wow, I had all this stuff, and they'll tell you how much you saved, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you take that amount that you saved for groceries, then you can take that out, like you say, in cash and put it over here in the kiddie pool. Maybe you can have a nicer restaurant dinner
There you go.
for
Yeah.
this month, or buy yourself something a little bit extra special because you had that. Or you
Mm-hmm.
can save it up for a big event of some sort, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because now that kind of is like extra money in case of, right?
Yes. And you could put it towards whatever you're working on, whether it's, I want a little bit more margin in my life. so I can breathe a little bit easier,
Right.
or I want to pay off a little bit more debt, or if I want to save up for, a nice vacation, whatever it is, or I know that I have car tires coming up, that I need to replace, whatever it
Yeah,
is.
sometimes
But
that comes out of nowhere.
I also like to put those things that we know are coming, we just don't know when, like car repairs, as a line item in your budget, so that
Right.
even if I don't use it that month, I put it into savings, earmarked for car repairs. So then when I do have those tires, I have the money, transfer it out, pay it out, and it's all good. But money stress also comes from not having a plan. So not knowing where you're going, where it's going, not having a plan, and then also not being able to make progress that you want to.
Right.
So how many of us are guilty? And comment below if you are. At the beginning of the month, you're like, oh, 500 extra dollars. Well, this is going to be a good month. I'm going to pay off this debt. I'm going to, put that much money in savings. And then you get to the end of the month and you're like, no money for groceries, struggling to find that money for gas, right? And that $500, I have no idea where it went.
Yeah, exactly.
And you can't make the progress that you want to, so you feel stuck.
You know,
That's where money stress comes from.
it's interesting. My daughter-in-law, when they were first, married, and all of a sudden they found themselves the two little boys, and it's like, wow, there's never money at the end of the month, right? And it's like, okay, just for 1 month, write down everything, every
Mm-hmm.
dime that you spend, right? So every time you go get gas at the gas station, do you buy a can of pop? Do you buy a candy bar? Do you buy a treat for the kids? Whatever, right? How many times do you make a quick run through Taco Bell or McDonald's or whatever? Write all these things down so that you know where every dime goes, and you'll be able to see, what you're spending on. That, oh, it's $1 here, it's $2 there, it's 50 cents here. When you look at that, that's where things mount up. It's not those big things. It's not the car payment. It's not the rent payment. It's all those little things, right?
Mm-hmm.
She was blown away. She's like,
Mm-hmm.
oh my God, I can't believe it. And I said, yeah, so what are you going to do for the next weeks? Right? And she started changing,
Mm-hmm.
that, right? And it's like, it's not that you can't, go through the drive through and grab something, quick to eat. It's how often do you do it? And then it becomes repetition. It's not something special.
And you don't think about it
No, you don't.
when it's habit.
Yeah, exactly. And because it's only a couple bucks here and there, it's amazing how fast those little things just add up to this momentum amount. Like,
Mm-hmm.
wow,
What
right?
on earth? Now, if you want a quicker way of figuring out how much you spent, print out last month's bank statements and take some markers or colored pencils and color code all those gas station trips, all the grocery store, all the drive-through. Add them all up, and that either gives you a starting place to put into your budget, because I'm already spending it. You can
Exactly.
reduce it later, right? Or you can be like, what you're saying is, I'm spending how much on fill in the
Exactly.
blank? And that gives you a really clear picture of where to start. Now, what I like to do is I reduce it. So let's take a drive through just as an example. And you're like, okay, I'm spending a little too much on drive through. But
Maybe
a
I
lot of
should cook a
people,
little more, right?
right? But a lot of people will feel like, I don't want to deprive myself. We're going back to that
Right.
budget, bad budget. So what I like to do is say, okay, if I'm spending 300 on drive through, let's take 10% of it off. So this month I'm giving myself $270 to spend on the drive through. Again, it's helpful if you take it out in cash, you know exactly how much you have,
Right.
and be intentional with it and enjoy it. That $30, that 10%, I now immediately put towards whatever money goal I'm working on. The debt, saving money, whatever you're working on. Immediately put it towards that. The next month, you do another 10% off. And you keep doing that until it gets down to a reasonable number. That way you don't miss it, you don't feel deprived, and it's not like this whole huge cold turkey shock to your
Yeah,
system.
exactly. Because sometimes that is. It's like, and it does give us that feeling of I'm depriving myself, or we justify, say, oh, I'm depriving my kids, the poor
Mm-hmm.
kids. It's like, no, what are you teaching these kids?
Mm-hmm.
What's the lesson you're teaching them, right? So it can be an education thing. And that's kind of what I did with my kids. When they were little and we knew we were going on vacation. So they had their different chores, different things that they did, and they did extra stuff. They would get money that they could put aside so that when we went on vacation, they'd have their own money to spend. They could spend it on whatever they want, you know. And again, and then it was like it was interesting. I had three of them. They were just a year apart. How each one of them valued money at a very early age. My
Mm-hmm.
oldest one, he was just, oh, right. I mean, he'd have it all spent like in one day, right? And then my middle boy, he was like, hmm, yeah, I think there might be something better. I'll wait. And then the oldest one was like, hey, hey, Jason, you know, um, I'll pay you back when we get home, right? And next, whatever. And it's like, no, this is mine, not yours, right? But I'll tell you, he tried to weasel so much. It was interesting to watch them.
Mm-hmm.
So then it's like, okay, this is the first day of vacation. We have all this time, right? So you got to give it some thought. We can always come back to get what you want if there's not something that you found later on that maybe you wanted more,
Mm-hmm.
right? So give it some real serious thought.
Did it work?
It
Did
did.
he start thinking
It,
more?
it, it did. It did because they're like, hmm. And they come up to me as like, so mom, if I don't find something else, and we're getting ready to go home, can we come back here so I can get this? Yep. Make a note of it, right? Because that's going to be your job to remember that, not mine.
Mm-hmm.
So you just
And
tell me.
remember which store, right?
That's right. So you write it down exactly what it is you want and where it's at, and then we'll go get it, right? And so they did that. It was really kind of interesting, and I think there was only like maybe once or twice that we ended up going back to get something, but they remembered that because they had written it down. And I was like, man, I'm sure glad I didn't spend the money on that because this is so much better, So and I look at where they are today in their lives and how they've built that relationship with money and how they've processed it throughout time. So it's like, yeah, and when you can instill that kind of lessons early on, then it's not like they're being deprived. It gives them an
Mm-hmm.
opportunity to really think what it is they're spending on and how bad do you need it. There's a difference
Yeah.
between I want it and I
Yes.
need it, because
And you bring up a good point. You said early on, but a lot of times I have women come to me and their kids are a little bit older and they haven't managed money well. And there's all that guilt like, I missed that opportunity. If you're now waking up to how to manage money, because you all you need is a simple plan to follow. And I think a
right.
lot of us never had that.
You're right. A lot of us haven't. Again, we look at the generations and stuff. My generation is way after yours. I can guarantee you that one. you know but there's been this like section of when we started having the latchkey kids and a lot more single parents, you know the money training kind of wasn't there, and it was like, oh man, I'm working all day, gotta go pick the kids up from daycare, I don't feel like cooking tonight, I'll just grab something on the way home. All of these convenient things, shall we say,
Hmm.
right? And sometimes convenience comes with a price, right?
It does, yeah. I mean, you can balance it with, our family's in a really busy season. So we are going to stop by the grocery or the drive through. And that's fine. You just need to prioritize it. You need to be
Right.
intentional with it. But if you're older and then you're like, I'm just learning how to handle money myself, it's okay. Teach your kids now. Say, you know what?
Exactly. Say,
I
let's
made a
learn this
mistake.
together, right?
Yes, let's learn it together. Be open with them. Of course, age appropriate. You don't want to scare your 5-year-old with how much debt you have, but being mindful on, like, we have debt, we're paying it off, and make it a family thing. And at the end of the month, like, color in your progress, and
Right.
really do things to say, okay, we're not going to go out for ice cream tonight, but we'll save up, and in 2 or 3 weeks we will,
Right.
type of thing. But being open with your kids and teaching them whatever you're learning, whenever you're learning it, is so much better than just hiding it under the rug
Well,
and
yeah,
not
just
teaching
saying,
them
oh,
at
well, we
all.
don't have money for that, or we don't have,
Mm-hmm.
now we don't have enough for that. Well, what do you think? Money grows on trees, all those things that we
Mm-hmm.
were
All those
thrown at,
sayings.
right? That really gives us a fear of money.
Mm-hmm.
We look at money as being something bad or
Mm-hmm.
wrong, and that type of thing. So, like you said, it really gives us a different appearance of what money is, and it is a very touchy subject for people to talk about. Whether it's your spouse or your
Mm-hmm.
kids, right? And again, getting that understanding and really beginning to recognize that money is not a bad thing. Having a lot of money is not a bad thing,
No.
because what you can do
Mm-hmm.
with a lot of money is so much more than what you can do when there's not enough to go around, right?
I think
And
you've written my speech for me, because you're leading right into my next topic, my
well,
next
let's
point.
go for it. Take it away there, Krista.
So, we've talked about intentional plan for your money. We've talked about money doesn't have to be stressful, and all you need is a simple plan to follow
Right.
with your money. And then the third point is that God has given each of us a gift, but too often money struggles hold us back from using it.
Right.
When I'm worried about paying the bills, I'm worried about the groceries, I don't have the mental, physical, emotional ability to be able to look outside myself and share my gifts with the world. Now, when you have your family's finances under control, see, that in itself is an incredible gift. And you are showing God's provision and care for your family very practically. And not only when your family's needs are taken care of, now you have the space to be able to use your gifts to help other people, whether it's a financial gift or not. It
Right.
can be either one, it can be both. But when your family is taken care of and there's money in the bank, you're on a plan to pay off debt, or you're debt free, now you can say, oh, there's a need. I have money, I can meet it. Or there's a need. I can go volunteer, I can go give of myself. So, whatever it looks like for you, you have that energy and that space to do it. When you're struggling with money, it holds you back and you're not able to do the things that God has given you to do.
Well, and there's that lack mentality that shows
Mm-hmm.
up, and we know what you focus on the most is what? Is what you get. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you're focusing on not having enough and you're struggling all this stuff, it's going to continue to stay that way, right?
Yes. Well, and you all have a choice. We all do, because money management is not a skill that any of us were born with.
No, that is so
So
true.
take that pressure off. But it's a skill that all of us can learn and can improve.
Right.
Money isn't out of your control,
Right.
and you have a choice on what to do with it today, because the small changes that you do today will make a difference for tomorrow.
Wow. Say that again. That is so critical.
Yep. You can start today, whatever today looks like for you, whether you've made lots of mistakes in the past, we all have, whether you have debt, whether you don't have any savings, you can start today. You can start making small choices today that will not only change your finances very quickly, but it will also change your future. Let me give you a quick example. I told you I'm in Phoenix. If I were to get on a plane to come to Chicago, but the pilot makes one small change in the course, instead of Chicago, I'm going to Atlanta.
I think that's more than just a little turn, but okay.
But you get my point. I mean, it doesn't take much on the pilot's end.
No, it doesn't, and that's so true. I mean, in every aspect of life, not just with money. It's stay in your lane, stay on that focus. What is your passion? What is your desire? What is your love? What is it that you want to do to make a difference, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when it comes to that, a lot of people don't really know. So I don't know, and with the world the way it is upside down right now, it's given us a whole lot of opportunity to have more time to spend with ourselves, to
Mm-hmm.
figure out what is it about me that I really like,
Mm-hmm.
and then what is it about me that I really can't stand that maybe I should change, because that's kind of what this show is all about, right? It's being that best you that you can be in every aspect and element of your life, because it's getting better each time. So again, when you look at your finances and that budgeting system, what can you do every day
Mm-hmm.
to get yourself into a less stressful position, to where now you have a good relationship with money, instead of one that's like totally unpredictable, totally
Mm-hmm.
even messed up
Mm-hmm.
because of old programming, right? So, what can you do right now today to start making that difference in your finances? Because, again, it's like you said right here at the beginning, Carissa, whatever goes on with your money will impact everything else in
Mm-hmm.
your life,
It does.
right? Everything.
The,
It's,
the women I work with, they come to me, they're just like I was, scared and stressed out about money, not having a plan, not knowing what to do with it, or
right.
even where to start. And after following a simple plan, after following what I teach, very shortly, and I'm talking a few months, they come back and no longer are they scared and stressed out about money. Now they're confident and they're handling money with intention, but it also changes so it changes them, it changes their finances, it changes them, but then it also changes your relationships with your family,
Oh, my
because
goodness. Yeah.
when you're not stressed about money, everyone is happier.
that is that is so true, I mean, there's the old saying, money is the root of all evil. Really?
It's the
Money
love
might
of
be,
money.
yeah, well, it's what you do with it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's how you utilize it.
Yes,
So money really isn't the root of all evil. Money is the basis
money is a tool.
for success, for
Mm-hmm.
confidence, for interaction, for livelihood, for happiness. It really is. It's something that's been around like forever. Before the money was in, it was a bartering system in exchange.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I got a cow. You want some milk? Yeah, I got some chickens. You want some eggs? Yeah, okay. Well, let's do that, right? So there's always that exchange, and money is
Mm-hmm.
nothing more than an exchange, one thing for another. You
Yes.
have something that I would like to have. So therefore, let me create this exchange. And money
Mm-hmm.
is an energy. It's like everything, it's an energy, right? So when you can start working from that perspective of an exchange, something for something else. So this just giving freely, just because, unconditional giving is great. Don't get me wrong there. But it's the receiving aspect of it. It's how do you receive when someone gives,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because it's not about getting a hand out. It's about getting a hand up.
Yes.
So when you start passing things on because your abundance has multiplied, it's like how can you assist that other person? It's like teaching them how to fish instead of giving them a fish,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it's all a learning. We're all teachers, and we're all students. And every
Yes.
object and everything that's out there can be our teacher or our student. So when we look at money as being the teacher, what can it teach us? Right?
Well, and it can teach you a lot. I mean, again, it touches every area of your life.
Yeah, and it's really amazing when you start to look at how much money really does impact everything. So, if when you guys are listening out here, let us know how you enjoyed what Carissa shared here today because I mean it's fabulous. You come from a different perspective than other people that I've had on the show, right? Which is really kind of interesting, and that's the fun part because we get all these different kind of ideas and directions and stuff, and it's just the simplicity of how you did that, right? So how can money make a difference in your life? What are you going to share out there with the world and with your family in money today? Comment below. Let us know. What is the first thing you're going to do to get a better relationship with money? And to get a better relationship with that B word budget, right? And changing.
I can give you a good first step. It's come
Yes.
download that free worksheet, and it's at Change
So
Your
how do people get
Finances.
that workshop, workbook, whatever, a worksheet? There we go.
You can get that free budget worksheet at changeyourfinances.com/Beverly.
Oh, well, there we go.
Yep, it's a free gift just for your audience. Again, it's changeyourfinances.com/Beverly. And that's my free gift to you. So it's a great first step because if you're not, I have a lot of people saying, oh, I'll budget when I make more money. I'll budget when I pay off my debt. Let me tell you, you want to have an intentional plan now because
Right,
that's going to help you get more money. A lot of women find that they have more money than they thought they did when they actually make a budget, the way I
right,
teach. And then it also will help you intentionally put more towards debt and put more towards savings. So this is really the key foundation to help you have a simple plan and be in control of your money because you have a choice. You don't have to let circumstances or chance or whatever it looks like right
right.
now dictate how it's going to be in the future.
And it's like that. Someday I'll do that.
Mm-hmm.
Someday never gets here. It's not a day of the week. You have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But there's no someday,
Yes.
right? So that someday will never come. And there's
Mm-hmm.
no better time than the present to get something started. It's like you said, and it's so true. It's like, well, when I start making more money, then I'll have more money to do stuff with. Well,
Or
no,
more money
because
to waste because you don't have a plan for
that's
it.
there you go. That's exactly right. That is so true. So if you don't start now,
Mm-hmm.
when?
Yes.
Right? So you'll either do one of two things. You'll get started or you'll continue to do what? Make excuses. So you'll either make an excuse or you'll start. You can't do
Mm-hmm.
both. So what
And
is
that's
it?
what I don't want to see happen.
Yeah.
I don't want you to say, "Oh, that was a great speech by Carissa. Oh, I'll do that someday." And
Right.
then still be in the same place, still stressed out and scared
Right.
about money
If you don't
with
make a
mountains of
change,
debt,
yeah, if
with
you
no
don't,
savings in the next 5 years, 10,
yeah, or
20.
is your 5 years from now going to look like today?
It will if you do nothing. If you
There
keep
you
doing the
go.
same path, it will look the same and you'll still be stuck. You'll still be stressed out. I don't want that for you because you have so much to give. And when, again, money struggles and money stress hold us back from being able to live out our best selves
Yes. That is
and have the
so true.
future that we want for our families. Because I know none of us want to be all worried about money and like, oh, we can't afford it. We can't afford a vacation. We have all the, no one wants to be there.
Right.
So let me challenge you. You have a choice. You can choose to do something about it today. The best first step is to go grab that worksheet. And if you need a simple plan, I've helped over almost 1,600 women so far have a simple plan for their finances, gain confidence with their finances, and change their entire life.
So when you start doing this, just kind of give a rough guesstimation of how long does it actually take to get that implemented and for people to start to see a change?
The women that come back to me, usually it's within a couple months they start to see a change.
Wow, did you guys hear that? A
Mm-hmm.
couple of months. How
Yep.
long has this been going on in your life? How long have you been in a
Right.
position for the lack of the stress over money? How
Mm-hmm.
long has that been going on? And you can begin to see a change in just a couple of months. Who
And most
wants
of the
that,
women,
right?
yep, most of the women who work with me, even if they have tens of thousands of dollars in debt, like my one of my customers, Andrea, she had over 50,000 in student loans. Within about 4 years, just a few years, she was able to pay all of that off on one income, plus saving up and paying cash for her master's degree. So it's that minimum payment on your credit card. Ignore that because that's going to keep you in debt for a
A
long time. Have you
very
ever
long
seen
time.
that timeline?
Oh my gosh, it's crazy. It because you're looking at what, 20 to 25% interest. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
it's crazy.
You can start, I teach you not only an intentional plan for setting up a budget that actually works, something that you actually want to stick to, but also an intentional plan on paying off debt and how to save money. And a lot of these women, again, start seeing changes in how they approach money and realizing how much they have and also making progress towards all these money goals in a couple of months. But then, within a few years that their finances have completely changed.
Right. That's amazing. That's amazing. And again, sometimes it's the simple things in life that make the biggest difference, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? You know, now I said simple. I didn't say
Yes.
easy.
Yes.
I said
But it can be
simple.
easier if you have a simple plan to
There
follow.
you go. Those are some wise words, that is for sure. Oh my gosh, Carissa, this has been so helpful and so comfortable to really start to get a plan. So, everybody out there that's listening, comment below. Did you really like what Carissa had to say? Are you ready to put some action into what she implemented? Go get that worksheet. Give the audience again what that link is.
Changeyourfinances.com/Beverly. It's a
Changeyourfinances.com/Beverly.
Yep.
Wow, that's pretty simple to remember, right?
Yes. And I want to also throw this out. If you are wanting to change your finances and you're struggling with it, you feel alone, you feel unsure of what to do, reach out to
Hmm.
me. I genuinely care about each of my customers and I'm not in it for the money. I have a business. Don't get me wrong, I do sell things, but I am really after that whole life transformation. And so I do care about you and I will help you with email or direct messenger on Facebook or Instagram. So if you really are struggling, reach out to me because I am here to serve you and I'm here to see you get control of your finances, have a simple plan to follow, and change your entire life with that aspect.
Wow, that is so beautiful. So you heard it here today. Now, if they want to get a hold of you, Carissa, how do they find you on your social medias? And can they find you when they get that little worksheet that goes to your website, I presume,
Mm-hmm.
as well. So
So
there's
my
contact
website is
information.
changeyourfinances.com. When you get that worksheet, you're on my email list, so you can always email me at any time. And I also give you lots of value with my emails. I love writing emails. And on Instagram and Facebook, both, I'm at Change Your Finances. So pretty easy. Change
Everything
your
is change
finances
your
across
finances,
the
change your
board.
finances, change your finances, and do it today,
Yes.
right? Today. So, thank you so much for being here today, Carissa. And let's go out there and be that best you that you can be. Carissa and I are going to be the best we that we can be. And we are going to do what? Change the finances of everybody on the planet. And we will see you all on the next show. Bye for now.
Bye now.